All right, you're on the mic with Mike. Just kidding. There's no mic. But this is Sammy and Marissa's husbands back with another episode. Give you a little rundown of the agenda. We got This Day in History by Tyler. We got a weekend recap of UNC State, our tournament bracket, first impressions, a little bit about our fantasy basketball successes, kind of a check-in on where we're at with episode 10, our picks record, best bet, and then as always, athlete by Tyler. So you're up, Baps. Take it away with This Day in History.
This day in history, St. Patrick's Day.
Big.
St. Patrick died in the year 461. Allegedly. It's a long time ago. I don't even know if we could write things back then. 1992, apartheid comes to an end in South Africa. Good thing. The year 2000, Julia Roberts makes $20 million for the movie Aaron Brockovich.
Solid movie.
That's a good movie.
Slept on.
1905, President Roosevelt married Eleanor Roosevelt. That's Franklin Roosevelt.
Frankie D. Put some respect on that man's name.
Frankie D's. Last thing I got, 1776, the British evacuate Boston. We said, get the fuck out of here.
The fuck out of here. Tea in the harbor.
That's it.
That's what's up. Solid day. Old St. Patty's Day. Speaking of St. Patty's Day weekend, what'd you get into?
So I worked Saturday at 6:30, worked till about 2. Then I came home. I'm kind of against, I don't know how you feel about this, like cleaning leaves, like in your yard. I'm not against picking them up. I'm against picking them up and putting them in the trash because I feel like it's just creating unnecessary landfill space. So I use that as an excuse to never pick up one leaf this year. So I had to borrow a leaf blower and blow off the whole yard because we had my grandma's 86th birthday party at the crib.
And it's just disrespectful for her to see leaves in your yard?
Well, you can't even see the ground.
That's fair.
Looked like a big leaf. Took me an hour.
One big leaf.
Yeah, looked like one giant leaf.
I'm against putting leaves in the trash as well. I don't think it's a big deal if you put them in the trash because then they get, they seep down back into the earth. But I hate when people put leaves in trash bags.
Yes. It's the
Right.
bags.
It's the bags. Right. You're sealing earth matter into plastic that'll never decompose. Pretty stupid.
It's dumb. We do that. We had we ate some food. We had Little Caesars pizza. Had some carrot cake, underrated cake.
From Little Caesars?
No, from Food Line.
I would say I didn't know Little Caesars was stepping their game up like that.
They're not in the cake game yet.
Fucking carrot cake, dog.
And we played a little dice, left, right, center for the uninitiated.
Right. Those that know, or those that get it, get it. Those that don't.
And we went out to Carolina Beach. We hit the Sea Witch. Had some drinks there, and then we went over to the dive to fuck with Wes.
Yeah, I heard there's this new bouncer at the dive that's just like super nerdy and really annoying.
Yeah, he was soft. He honestly thought about checking me, but then I threw him the eyes, and he knew.
Yeah.
He actually did kick somebody out while I was there.
Interesting. I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall.
I'm not gonna lie. Wes asked him to leave, like touched him a little bit. The guy kind of brushed him off, and then Wes handled it and forced him out of the bar. It was pretty funny.
That's what's up. We were walking downtown Columbus, and it was like 3 p.m. and this place was going crazy. Like you would have thought it was 2 a.m. lines to get into the clubs, and we weren't about that. We just, you know, wanted to do our business, drink a little green beer, you know what I mean? And we're walking past the entrance for this club. There's a long line, and it's like a club. Like you could tell, like no windows. All the windows and doors are like blacked out, and bouncer comes out like girl by the armpits over his head and launches her onto the sidewalk. Like I'm talking, she was in the air. And Sammy was just like, what the fuck was that? Like she legitimately got thrown out of this club. And she wasn't a small lady. She wasn't huge or anything, but she drank her milk growing up.
She had dense bones.
Yeah, it wasn't 2% neither. She drank some whole milk growing up. But other than that, I worked Saturday and Sunday. Saturday we had to do a little obstacle course, which is always kind of funny watching them like struggle on the obstacle course because it's really not that hard of stuff. But some of the obstacles are really tall, like I'm like 50 feet off the ground, and you have to climb up over a thing, and it's really just to test, you getting over your fear of heights because a lot of people are scared of heights, and you really don't know if you're scared of heights until you're up there. And man, some tears were shed.
You
Like
had boys crying?
so crying, oh yeah, crying, like crying.
Jesus.
We got one dude. He's a black dude from Houston, and he's real Southern, good dude. But he's one of those type of people that like, if something's on his mind, he says it. That's just who he is. It's how he talks. And he's up over, and he kept telling me, he's like, I'm scared of heights, sir. I'm scared of heights. So I'm gonna go first in all these obstacles. I'm gonna just get it done. And he's a fairly like athletic dude. I think he played football in college, but he's like shorter. He probably played like outside linebacker at a low level school, but athletic. So he's doing all the obstacles. He's good. He gets to the one we call the tough one, and he's up at the top. And you got to like straddle this beam, and you're probably 50, 60 feet in the air, something like that, and like go over to the other side and climb down a cargo net. And he is just, oh God, oh God, it's in your hands. Praise Jesus. Pray the whole way down. And I'm just like dying laughing, trying not to show that it's funny. I was just like, all right, like, come on, let's get down it. But yeah, so that was funny. And then today I had to go in, and we got land nav coming up this week. So we go out to the field and teach them how to do land navigation and all that stuff. So I had to go in and get all the stuff ready because it's our duty week. And so it kind of like falls on me and the guy that's in my platoon with me. So we had to get all that stuff prepped, and then I had to come home, do laundry, and pack all my stuff. So I'm still getting that stuff squared away. And then Sam left this morning. She went to Raleigh to stay with her sisters because I'm gonna be gone all week. So there was really no point. She works from home. Like her sisters have the same job. So it doesn't really make sense for her to be here while I'm not here, if she can just go work somewhere else. So she's gonna come back Saturday when I get back. And then we'll chill. But we went to this thing called like I think they called it the Tulip Festival. It's about 45 minutes away from where we live, in like somebody's farm. And I guess they plant a lot of tulips. But it was cool. They had like a lot of flowers, which was a cool thing, I guess. But they had like food trucks, little vendors and stuff like that. So we chilled there. It wasn't super long, but they have live music. And they played pretty good music. And then we went into Columbus and went to our little favorite spot, the Mix Market, and we got some drinks. No green beer, unfortunately. I was a little upset they didn't have any green beer. Like it's St. Patty's Day weekend. I want to smash a green beer. But
I didn't have a green beer this weekend either.
Yeah. I like green beer. I don't want like exclusively green beer, but my St. Patty's Day, I want Jameson shots and green beer.
I did. I don't even know. Did I send you that Snapchat of my sink?
Of your sink? No.
Oh, well. So we went out last night. I came home and I didn't realize how drunk I was
Classic.
So we were in the car, and I came home, and I'm like, arms out, like bent over the sink, brand new sink, brand new vanity, and I threw up in the sink 9 times, clogged the sink with my thick throw up. Brand new sink. Then I had to go, but the reason I got sick is because I had 3 car bombs in the course of, I don't know, 4 minutes.
Good old fashioned car bombs, man.
And I sent a video of me taking one to my Aunt Julie, and all she said was a little slow.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that shit. But
So
yeah,
I'm never drinking those again.
you say that until the next time. But car bombs always, for some reason, come up, and it'll be like the most random times. I get it that it's St. Patty's Day weekend, but like usually it's not even that. It's just some random event, and for some reason the theme becomes it's car bomb night. I hate car bombs. Um,
They
but but yeah, there was good basketball on all weekend. Obviously, ACC tournament we watched, and all the other conference tournaments. But Carolina wasn't able to pull out the ACC tournament. I really wanted us to win that one, especially because we were playing our not so close rivalry, NC State. They want to think it's a rivalry. It's really not, but whatever. They did
But
beat us.
it might be now.
It's not. The freaking record is like 48-9 now. Like it's not close. They're obviously the little brother. People just don't want to accept that. But I will say, State's scrappy, dude. The DJ twins that don't look alike at all are good. DJ Burns is the big lefty dude that they have. He was unstoppable, and like Baycott's a big dude. I mean, like he's a big physical guy, and Burns just walks him down from the 3-point line every time he gets it. If we helped, he was finding the open man. If we didn't help, he was just doing some crazy little, like he finds that right shoulder and throws some left hook up, and it goes in. Like he would not miss. We just UNC didn't hit the big shots. And that's been the kind of story of the season. We've hit the big shots. This is why we've been good. But coming down the stretch, we just couldn't find the rim. Harrison Ingram has got to be more effective of a scorer, I think, because if they can just put their worst wing defender on him and he doesn't attack, we're in bad shape.
Well, I mean, when you shoot 37% from the field and 26% from three, it's going to be hard to win.
Yeah, we had a couple threes that we actually made, but were called off because of illegal screens. We try and set those like kind of like flare and down screens with our bigs for Cormac Ryan and RJ. And it's so deflating when we get one. It's a perfect play and probably didn't need to set an illegal screen, but we throw an extra shoulder in just to get them some more time. We hit the three and then they call it the illegal screen. It's just like deflating. And then that happened like 2 or 3 times.
Another thing I saw, if you got DJ Burns walking Mondo down like that, and he's going to lead the team in assists like every time you guys double or show, that's tough. He had 7 assists. You get 7 assists out of your center.
Out of your center that scored 20 plus as well. And
yeah.
But what that was is we were just ball watching because it was his show. Like, he would start walking down. It'd take him 5 seconds to get to the rim, and if nobody helped, he just scored. So then we'd like start ball watching. Somebody would run over to help, and they would just cut behind us and get like an easy layup. It was very frustrating to watch. But all in all, that's done. We lost the ACC tournament, but we're a 1 seed. I think we played well enough in the ACC tournament up to that point to get the 1 seed over Tennessee. You got any first impressions of what the bracket looks like? Anything you're excited about?
Matchup I'm excited about. Well, two games I like just for upsets. I got one in the East bracket. I like Duquesne beating BYU.
Yeah,
I think
we watched
I
that Duquesne game. I forget who they played, but me and you were watching that, I believe, when you were here, right?
think
They looked good.
yeah, they got a solid little team. Couple there's that one kid that's a freshman that's good on that team. I can't remember his name though.
I remember watching that, and he looks like he's 35, but he's a freshman,
Yeah.
and he had absurd stats in high school. I remember,
Yep.
um, like average like 30 something points a game, and I'm like, really? His highest offer was Duquesne, and he was killing. Like he played well. My first impressions, UNC and Arizona have a potential matchup in the West. They're 1 seed and 2 seed, and that's UNC versus Caleb Love if that happens. And that'll be big because Caleb Love transferred away from UNC, and I don't think there's bad blood like in the media necessarily, but if you're Caleb Love, I think you feel like you got forced out a bit, and he wants revenge. I know he does. I think it doesn't matter what seed Carolina or Arizona got. I think the committee would have found a way to put them in the same conference or region, I guess you could call it.
There's some decent teams in Carolina's bracket too.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, we are the 4th seed, so we should have the hardest road to get to the Final Four. I mean, that's how it should work. I really don't want to see Alabama. Like that's the team I'm like, I don't love that
Yeah,
match.
that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
They got Bama. You get them what in the Sweet 16?
It would be the Sweet 16 if we both made it there. Um, they can put up points, but at the same time, if they're not hitting threes, they can't score. So it's just going to be a matter of who's on that night, I think. And that's with every game in the NCAA tournament. That's why it's so hard to predict. I will say, if State gets healthy, I wouldn't want to see them either. I don't think they're in our region, but who I don't care who you are, I wouldn't want to see them. I think they're a 6 seed.
Who, NC State?
Yeah,
They're an 11 seed
they're an 11. I thought maybe okay, they're playing a 6 seed. That's what it is.
playing Texas Tech.
That might be on the radar for an upset alert as well.
That's what I was gonna say. I like them. I'm honestly probably gonna. Who would they have to? Oh, they'd have to play Kentucky though. If Kentucky beats Oakland, I don't know if they're getting that one.
Yeah, Kentucky is one of those teams that they generally play good against not so great teams, but when they play good teams, they haven't been playing well. Um, South Carolina very well could make it out of the Midwest as a 6 seed, which I don't think happens tons, but South Carolina's played awesome all year. I think Purdue and Houston, I don't think they make the Final Four. Houston plays way too slow, and teams are going to be game planning against Zach Edey at Purdue big time. And if you can stop Zach Edey, put him in a bunch of pick and roll situations, make him play defense, I don't think Purdue's that great. Same with Houston.
Well, no, I can tell you for a fact, nobody on Grambling or Montana State can guard Zach Edey. So
Well,
they're definitely
that's true. I'm not saying they're going to lose.
definitely getting out of the first round.
Yeah, but okay, because their bigs are probably not even close to size matchup wise. He's going to tower over everybody in those games. If they don't win those ones by 20 plus, something's wrong. But those are my thoughts leading into the bracket. I have a best bet that I'm gonna save towards the end that I think is on my radar for an upset so far. But what app do you use? You use the Tournament Challenge? You use CBS?
I use the tournament challenge one.
Yeah, I use the Tournament Challenge mostly, but my family always does one on CBS. I'm honestly I'm a printout guy. Like I like to print out the bracket and follow it along like that. Like obviously you can't enter challenges with that stuff, but that's how I like to follow along.
The old school way.
Old school, and that way I can see the whole thing. Because Tournament Challenge kind of pisses me off sometimes because you can it's zoomed in and you can't really see what's going on. I feel like it's just too much.
It's not the most user friendly app.
Nah, and but it is fun being able to enter in like the different challenges they have. I think we're gonna do one with work. I'm gonna do one with my family. I'm gonna print out a bunch of sheets and let the candidates like make a bracket because they don't have their phones and stuff during the week. So I'm gonna print out all that stuff and let them do it. I think it'll be kind of like a fun thing for those that do follow sports.
There'll be somebody there who's never watched a basketball game who will fucking win it.
Those are the people that win. It's just like the random guesses. Like my Aunt Kim always picks like her favorite mascot, like who has the cooler mascot. And for some reason she always does what?
There's me and Drew, we're gonna do a $10 buy-in for ours if you want to do one. If you
Yeah,
wanna
I'm
do one.
down for sure. Um, and I think we can probably get. I have some people at work that might be interested in a $10 buy-in. Um,
Yeah.
if we're trying to just open it up to people, but if we want to
No,
keep it small, that's
I
cool
want
too.
I'm gonna create it tomorrow. I want as many people as possible in there.
Right, because that just benefits me, and I know you want to donate money to me as well. Um,
Anything I can do to help you
yeah,
is that's what I live for.
right. I mean, because it's pretty obvious that I'm going to win.
Sure, of course.
Right,
Naturally.
naturally. So besides the tournament, we're both in fantasy leagues for NBA, but we're in separate leagues. You're in the league that is the friend group league that I got shunned from because my friends went and got big on me and didn't invite me to play anymore. So I had to find some new friends and I got in the league. But I'm 10-4-5, so 10 wins, 4 losses, 5 ties. And I know because we do the league a little bit different for the scoring system than you guys do. It's not just based off total fantasy points; it's based on category. But I won this week. I won all the categories, so I'll move to 11-4-5. I'm the 2 seed in my division, so I'll make the playoffs because the 3rd seed has like 8 wins or something like that. But with my league for the waiver wire, I think we've talked about this before. You get $200 at the start of the league. And for a waiver pickup, you have to put a certain amount of money as your claim. So there's no waiver order. You have to like bid to who you want. So if you outbid the person that also makes a claim on this person, then you get the person. There is a waiver order if you guys bid the same amount of money, but that usually doesn't happen. So me not really knowing how this worked, I really wanted someone the first week of the season. I thought you got $200 a week for your bids. So I put $200 to get someone. And I don't even remember who it was. And I'm pretty sure they're like the worst player on my team right now. But I spent all my money week 1. So I have not been able to make a waiver pickup at all the whole season. And I'm still second in making the playoffs. So I'm applauding myself for my drafting.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty solid if you're able to. I mean, because you're basically playing with a handicap the whole time.
Right. I haven't been, I literally can't drop anybody. I can't move anybody to my IR. I can't do any of that stuff. But my team's healthy right now, and I think we're getting healthy at the right time. So we'll see. I'm probably not going to win because of that, but I am in the playoffs. You never know.
Yeah, my season I underperformed. I mean, I just want everybody to know I am the only two-time champion in the league.
Two time.
So
The two time.
I'm the two-time. I'm gonna finish the year. I'm 8-11 right now. If I would have won this week, I would have made the playoffs because I'm playing bye week Eric next week. Um, but Corey decided to beat me this week, keep me out of the playoffs.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, it is tough, especially interesting that you wanted to talk about fantasy basketball when you didn't even make the playoffs. I thought you were going to come on here and say you had some unbelievable season. And
Man,
no, you just want to talk about your failures.
I'm real, I'm a real guy.
Yeah, I mean, that's what this is about. Just be as real to the fans as we can.
I underperformed. I had two great first picks, Shai Gilgeous Alexander and Tyrese Halliburton. And truthfully, my draft kind of tailed off from there. I had okay players. I mean, Kristaps Porzingis is probably my third best player. Um, I had Paolo Banchero. He's been good for me, but up and down. I mean, after that, Darius Garland. I just didn't have enough depth. I didn't draft good enough to really make a. Even if I made the playoffs, I was going to get killed in the first round.
Yeah. I'm getting real tired of seeing Mike Snapchats about fantasy basketball. So I would have liked you to step it up a little bit.
He's not even going to make the playoffs.
He acts like fucking. I mean, you never know with his Snapchats. He always puts the goat face on and does his deal. But
I told him he was like, I'm making the playoffs, and I was like, he said this is your 2024 fantasy basketball champion, and I said I will put any amount of money on it that you will lose.
he sent one. I think it was yesterday. It might have. No, I think it was yesterday. Of him talking about playing on one-on-one with this person at the gym, and then he sent a picture of the person, and it's like a fucking 12-year-old. I was
I
like, yeah,
think
good shit, you beat him.
I think it's his nephew.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, this is a
Um,
little thing.
that's pretty funny. But so we're 10 episodes in, right? Uh,
And the heights that we've soared to, being the number one listened to podcast coming out of Wilmington and Fort Mitchell, Alabama.
yeah, nobody's done it. This is unprecedented stuff here.
Mm-hmm.
We should probably like win a Grammy. I think they only do those for music, but
Yeah, I think we should Google what a Grammy is after we get off of this.
I mean, I could make an argument this is music to people's ears. Our
Okay.
soothing voices,
Okay.
just talking to the
Drew
people of the world.
Drew just listened to the solo podcast I did, and he said it sounds like you smacked or smoked a pack of cigarettes before I did it.
The title definitely lives up to the name of that. You sound like you're literally in bed. Um, you just woke up from like a 3-hour slumber and decided to hit record and just talk about random shit.
Hey man, that I was getting out of my comfort zone. We needed content.
Yeah, I don't know if that's necessarily the content that we needed to give to the world. Um, but all in all, we are getting better. We've had some feedback saying that we need to be more structured, which I think we're fairly structured. But I think what makes it good sometimes is that it's not structured. Because if we just sit here and go off a list and talk about this, this, and this, there's not much personality involved with it. But um, you know, I do think we should share with people soon. I don't necessarily know like if this is the one we're gonna put out and be like, hey, check this one out. But I think the best way to do that is probably just post it on an Instagram story, like with the link and let people go and listen. I think later down the road, we could potentially make like a Sammy and Marissa's husband's Instagram or Twitter page and just like kind of promote there. I think that would be a good way to like kind of get it out.
Yeah, I think so too. And I've told, our core group of friends,
Yeah.
and I don't know how much Wes has listened to. I think he's listened to most of it. Drew's listened to all of them but two. Corey said, I told Corey, and he listened to 6 like right away. I think he's about to be on the solo episode, and he said that's the most excited for. And I told him, I was like, prepare yourself because it really is fucking awful.
Yeah, it's pretty bad, but all in all, like if anything, it's entertaining. I don't know how
Entertaining for people if they know me.
if they
Like
know. Yeah,
some
yeah, yeah.
random person's gonna be like, "What the fuck is wrong with this?"
I would bet money the 1-star review we got um was off that solo episode. Some random person was just like came across it and was like, so let me check that one out. What the fuck is this? But yeah, I think we're getting good. I do think guests would be a cool thing to do. We'll obviously start with probably the friend group, but I think we should kind of honor our first listeners, which are Bryce and Austin. Um, I think they would be fun to have on the podcast. But the West, Drew, Corey, Mike, I think would be hilarious to get on here.
Mike, we would need to probably do some editing because I feel like he would say some uncouth things.
Right. I'm not going to say what I think he would say, but he would probably drop a little bit of that. Maybe we can get like some features on here where we just blur out words and just a bunch of beeps. But my Aunt Kim said she wanted to be a guest, which I think would be kind of a funny deal. And we don't have to do these guests like they do the whole episode with us. We can just do like 10-minute things and then they can leave the call.
Yeah, I mean,
You know what
it's
I'm
a
saying?
lot of pressure on somebody to sit here for 40 minutes.
Right. And it kind of they run out of things to talk about and stuff like that. So I think guests would be a cool deal to do. And we'll get on that. But in terms of who's first, who do you think we do?
Bryce, probably.
Okay. I think
Bryce has been our most dedicated listener. I actually hung out with Austin a little bit today. We played some disc golf. And I was like, hey man, have you listened to anything? He's like, So he might get put on the back burner a little bit. He might have ruined his shot at podcast fame.
That's true. I think Bryce does a lot of like traveling to work, and that's the best time for a podcast is when you're just kind of mindlessly walking or sitting on a commute to work or whatever it is you do. People do different commutes, but I think that's a good call. We can just gather interest as well, like who even wants to be on it, but I do have one bucket list guest that we think we have. I want you to go with your bucket list first.
Okay. I have I think it'd be hilarious if you had I'm going to do a couple from a couple different sports. Charles Barkley for me.
Okay.
Just to pick his brain about basketball and just to hear him like talk shit about fat women from San Antonio or whatever the fuck he
Right.
talks about. David Wright, baseball.
Mets guy.
Obviously, I'm going to go with the Mets guy. Mark Sanchez,
Oh God.
my favorite football player ever.
He's going to leave the podcast because I'm just going to tell him how bad the Jets were. And the butt fumble is going to be the first question.
I already said this once. We are not going to talk about the butt fumble on this fucking thing.
But we are right now.
I'm not entertaining it. And then the last one, I just, kind of random. John Daly. I think that would be funny.
Yeah, that would be funny. I think if we could get John Daly on the podcast, we have officially made it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll be out of the army at that point if we do John Daly.
I'm smoking a Marlboro Light menthol with that guy.
We're doing the podcast on the golf course. So, all right. But my bucket list guess is a little different of a turn than you went. I'm setting some realistic expectations for us. We're not getting Charles Barkley on the podcast. I break to you.
It's a bucket list.
Yeah, right. I want Baby Shaq from the CB Rec.
Mike Gibbs.
I want Mike Gibbs.
I could get Mike Gibbs on here.
All right, make it happen. That's my bucket list. That's what I want. And we have to figure out a way to make his face the thumbnail for the episode.
I think I run into that guy in literally every men's league.
Well, there you go. Fucking get him. Baby Shaq. I want to talk about his life story.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably had an interesting life.
Yeah. I want to know how many times a little kid has asked him if he's Shaquille O'Neal.
Hundreds, probably.
Hundreds. I honestly, when we were 7 years old watching men's league games at the CB Rec Center, like I thought that was Shaq.
Yeah. He's a big dude.
His
son played men's league at Josh Humphrey's league.
Yeah, I saw something about his son. He's like younger, right? He just finished like high school, maybe in college or something.
Yeah, he's big too. I mean, he's not that size, but he's probably like 6'3".
Okay.
I actually just played disc golf today with a guy who hit a buzzer beater against UNCW in the NCAA tournament and played professional basketball with Yao Ming in China.
That's pretty wild to be able to say that.
I could probably get him on here too.
Yeah. Um, I have to tell you a funny story that I was talking to Bryce for a long time on the phone the other night, and somehow this came up and I didn't know about it. But Bryce played, basketball at high school forever for however short-lived that was. But um, they did I think it was the inaugural like Michael Jordan tournament. I don't know where it was, probably at Laney, I would assume. Um, but he like sponsored it, and all the teams that competed got Jordan shoes to wear. It was probably like the Air Jordan 26s or whatever that nobody really wears, but they went and got sized, they got the shoes, they had to play in them. So all of these players had to play in like brand new, not broken in shoes. They didn't even get a chance to practice in them, any of that stuff. So that was already like a little weird. They had to play in them. Um, Played the tournament, whatever. And then after the game, they had to give the shoes back. Is that not the craziest thing?
Did this 100% happen?
This 100% happened. Everybody on the team had to wear the shoes, and they all had to give them back after the game.
Listen, that motherfucker is ruthless. I don't want to get sued for anything.
I'm not saying anything about it. I'm just saying that is the craziest thing I've ever heard.
I heard he only built that gym, that brand new gym, so he could shoot a commercial in a nicer gym than their old one.
Oh my God. I mean,
obviously that's not true. That's just speculation.
Allegedly. Also, any of Michael Jordan or any of his associates will 100% never hear this episode.
So they're listening right now.
They're just part of the government that's listening in. They got all their laptops tapped.
That crazy motherfucker, every time his name is mentioned, like a red light goes off in his house so he can see if he can fuck that guy up.
Yeah. It's going to be a little interesting. You have Scottie Pippen and a couple others. I can't. Horace Grant, I think, might be one of them. They're doing some tour talking about what actually happened during the Bulls thing, kind of like clarifying a few things that they talked about during the Last Dance. I'm very interested to listen to that.
Scottie Pippen, Horace Grant, and Luke Longley.
Yeah, very interested.
Yeah, I think there's, the best player on the team always has their view of how something happened, and then just those guys who I'm interested to see like how the bigger guys talk about it, because Luke Longley obviously would beat the shit out of Michael Jordan. He's too big.
Right, he's a giant.
So like, and like the way that Jordan, like, obviously dude's an insane competitor, but the way he talks to people, I just couldn't imagine that flying with these guys.
I mean, it flew.
I mean, they won 6, so what can you say?
I mean, when you're winning, everything's great, but they didn't do much losing around there. But we don't got tons of time left, so I'm going to roll into my best bet. And it's something I just looked at the bracket, right? And it was kind of like the first one that stuck out to me. Kansas versus Samford, right? Samford's a 13, Kansas is a 4. Kansas has struggled all year, and they really only have 5 players. And Hunter Dickinson and I forget the dude's first name, but McCullough, who's like, they're both All-Americans. They both didn't play in the Big 12 tournament because of injuries. McCullough's been out like a significant amount of time. I think Dickinson had like a dislocated shoulder or something like that. And Samford plays like a weird like pressure defense type thing. And they really only have like one guard. Kansas only has like one guard that can handle the ball. And that guard is good. It's Harris Jr. or whatever. He's old as hell, but
and that's the end of the episode. We don't know how time works. Goodbye.